Okay, so look who I met.
Hi.
This is Kyle Pettige, yeah?
Yep,
Okay, and he's a fisheries biologist.
that's correct.
Yes, here at with the Department of Wildlife, and he's answering questions on the fish ladder and whatever we want to talk about. So one thing that I am curious about is how this facility, the fish ladder, is going to work in the summer when the river's dry.
Yeah, so this is a dry up point for the river. The diversion structure here that we have built the fish ladder at serves to get water to the Watson Lake State Fish Hatchery.
Okay, so this section was installed to put, is that the pipe, so the pipe comes out right there, yeah?
Exactly,
Okay,
yeah. So the
okay.
diversion structure was built in the 1960s.
Yeah.
And ever since then, it's been delivering water to the Watson State Fish Hatchery.
Okay, and
Where
that's a
they-
flow through, yes?
Yes, so
Okay.
they can run water into the lake
So,
or
yeah,
down
it
to
goes
down to the raceways where they raise the fish. That hatchery raises about 300,000 10-inch trout every year that get
Okay.
stocked around the state of Colorado.
Nice.
So important resource for our agency.
Yeah.
And it's still able to divert water into the lake
Yeah.
and raise those fish.
Yeah.
So water will still and currently is being diverted from the river into the lake
Yeah.
to the hatchery.
Yeah. So this is not going to affect the hatchery operation at all, but how will this ladder function when the river's dry? I mean, the fish are still going to be caught in these little ponds, right?
The fish are down there, but luckily the idea is, luckily for us, fish can sense those conditions coming. So the river generally doesn't go from high flow to zero instantly. It's a gradual process as the river comes down. This ladder behind us is designed to carry up to 30 CFS roughly. So
Okay.
0 to 30 CFS, if it's being bypassed, past the structure will be in the fish ladder. Anything above 30 CFS, which obviously we're way above 30 CFS today,
Right.
spills over the dam.
Right.
So as the river comes down and flow gets lower and lower and we're at 20 CFS and we're at 10 CFS, fish in the pool will be able to sense that and now have the ability to do something about it. And they can move up the ladder, you know, and seek refuge upstream or seek
Better
refuge in the pool below the structure.
Okay. So, so in terms of the movement of the fish in this river, because so this OG section kind of cuts this section from that section when all the levels drop, and then down there's another I don't know what you call that little low
Another diversion
dam.
structure,
It's a
low head dam.
Low head dam. Does water pool behind that one too at the low times?
Yeah, so
So it kind of segments the river into.
it does, into smaller habitat chunks. So
Okay.
there's, you know, around 16 or so, it depends on which ones you count and which ones you don't, 16 or so divergent structures from the Monroe Tunnel kind of canyon mouth area down
Yeah.
to I-25.
Okay.
Watson Lake being one of them. So
Okay.
these big structures like Watson historically have fragmented the river into these sections, these small chunks of habitat where maybe it's 3/4 of a mile, maybe it's 2 miles of habitat.
Yeah.
But without these fish ladders, the journey for a fish is a one-way street. You can go
Yeah.
downstream,
Yeah.
but you know, you're not getting back over a 6-foot-tall concrete structure in the river.
Yeah.
So that's where the fish ladders come in. So we're just reconnecting and kind of unfragmenting the habitat. So
Yeah.
fish can choose now, you know, when they want to move up, when they want to, like they can always go down and over a structure, but more when they want to move up, and it allows them to utilize habitat as they wish. So say a fish like brown trout spawns in October, usually in the Poudre River.
Yeah.
Oftentimes those fish will move upstream if they have the ability to seek preferred spawning habitat, which
Are
is
there
small
brown
gravel.
trout here?
Yeah, yep.
Okay.
Lots
There's
of them.
some trouts here, okay.
Yeah, in this section we've got probably, depends on the year, but 800 to 1,200 brown trout per mile, actually.
So how far do those fish travel to spawn?
Hard to say. I mean, the next structure up from this one's around a mile or so, but
Okay.
we've had studies in other parts of the state where we've seen brown trout move up to 20 miles out of a reservoir
Oh,
to
really?
spawn.
Okay.
So, you know, this is only one one fish passage structure in a river with a lot of them. The Poudre's a hard-working river.
Yeah.
But the goal or the hope is to implement more of these projects and kind of let the fish choose what they want to do.
Yeah. How much did this cost?
Oh, it's an expensive project. So it's a lot of concrete. It's a really tall diversion structure.
Yeah.
And it was important for us to pass all fish species, so native and non-native.
Okay.
So getting into the technical side of things, if you look, it's not a really steep slope. When you're inside the ladder, it's about 4%.
Yeah.
And that helps us maintain really low water velocities.
Okay,
so if you went up
so
to
it's
like
easy.
10%, so it's easy. So
Yeah.
small fish, a dace, a sucker, these native species that can't jump and they can't swim as fast, can still get up
Still
it.
migrate.
So that just means more concrete and a bigger structure to accomplish lower slopes and lower
Yeah.
water velocities.
Yeah.
So the fish ladder in conjunction with the fish screen, which we haven't talked about at all, but
Yeah.
those combined were around $800,000.
Okay.
So expensive.
Yeah.
The ladder itself, if you had to break it out, I think was around two thirds of that cost to 3/4.
Okay.
But they were done combined, and the combined project was.
And so what is this fish screen here? And what are these solar panels for? And kind of, yeah, let's go. Tell me about all of this now in your tour.
Yeah, so solar panels, the one on the bottom, the bigger one, is powering Pettige arrays, which we haven't talked about, but these small gray boxes here are Pettige arrays, which are embedded in the structure. And then when we tag fish, we're able to monitor movement up and down the fish within the fish ladder of tagged fish.
Like the salmon on the Columbia?
Yeah, exactly. Same exact technology.
Yep.
So that solar panel is powering all of the Pettige setup.
Okay.
The upper solar panel on the pole is powering the fish screen. So that requires some level of power to clean itself, actually.
And what is that?
So if you
Shall we
wanna
walk
walk-
over there?
Yeah.
Walk over there. No, this is great. Okay, so this is fish screen. Oh, is that this structure right here?
That's it. So because the
Okay.
river's up, you can't see it that well, but it
Okay.
is a large cone-shaped structure that sits down in the water.
Okay.
I think it's about 8 feet tall, so it's large. It's set down pretty deep,
Yeah.
and the river's up a bit.
Yeah.
And what that is doing is it's allowing Parks and Wildlife to screen the water that is utilized by the hatchery. So there's a series of pipes. There's a 48-inch pipe that runs underneath the road and serves Watson Lake.
Yeah.
And then there's pipes that run all the way the length of the road down parallel to the river that serve the hatchery and the raceways where they raise fish.
Yeah.
And so all of the water in the spring, summer, fall, when it's not frozen, is going to now be screened. So previously, a fish, a trout, or any fish that's coming downstream may end up in Watson Lake and get entrained or lost, it gets entrained or stuck in the lake. So now the water is going to be screened, so we won't have fish going through the pipe into the lake and getting stuck in the lake. And that was a big concern of ours with the fish ladder being built too, because the exit to the fish ladder is in pretty close proximity to the inlet pipes for the hatchery water. So we didn't want to have fish exiting the fishway and 6 feet to the left have a pipe where they get sucked into the lake. That's
Sucked
not doing
over
us.
there.
It's not doing us that much good.
And so it's only screening for fish. It's not screening for anything else.
It's made out of a really small, fine metal mesh. So inherently, it's going to keep out leaves from the pipes, which is a benefit to the hatchery staff. They don't, in the fall, they won't need to come up and rake leaves out of the inlet pipe.
Right.
So it's hard to tell, but there's 3 arms that come down over the cone screen, and that's what the solar panel is actually powering, are those arms, and they move periodically through the day. It's just like a stiff bristle broom on top of the cone screen that'll clean the screen and break up algae, break up leaves in the fall that might accumulate otherwise on the screen. And then that orange boom floating looking thing you can see out there, that's just a trash rack. It's not a trash rack, it's a debris boom.
Right.
So it is meant to keep large sticks and other things from coming in and impeding the cone screen or hitting the screen and damaging it or getting stuck in the fish ladder and clogging it.
Cool. Cool. And so was that put in as part? Was that DOW's part to put that in, or was that part of the same group of Northern Noosa DOW like that?
Part of the same group.
Group,
Both of
okay.
these, the ladder and the screen, were all rolled into one project.
Okay. Cool. And then do you, this may be just your personal thing, maybe you can or can't comment on it, but do you have any concerns about the discharge of the treatment plant into the river during the low flow times?
Oh, I mean, that's all regulated outside of our agency. CDPHE controls, those kind of discharge permits,
Yeah.
and they're pretty well monitored.
Okay. We hope. Well, great. Well, Kyle, we really, I know everybody in the community has been interested in this, and I really appreciate giving us the executive tour.
No, I appreciate you taking the time to
Yeah.
do it and care about it. It's a great project, just highlighting what we can do to
Yeah.
better serve the river and the power of collaboration. And
Right.
the artwork component is just phenomenal. That the students are
Yeah, that's great. That's really great. Yes. Well, I have to say, I love the river. I love the ecology. I'm very concerned about the impacts on all of those things. But just my personal opinion is that that's a lot of money to spend so that fish can have choice. And I know that we've already done so much to this river to damage it. And Northern is coming with the NIST project, like a freight train. And that is going to do, irreparable harm to this river. This river will cease being a river in any real sense of that word and will become just really a ditch because these flows are going to be gone. And we'll get our little trickling tourist season flows to keep the Whitewater Park in business, but it's really sad. So personally, you can say at the next meeting that you heard from a local who said, hey, take that $850,000, spend it on kids, families, worker housing for these dairy workers. I mean, I can think of a lot of things that might pay you guys more. There's a lot of good ways to spend money. And I love fish as much as the next guy and this river and the health of this river, but I hate to see money spent on projects when something like NIST is going to come and just make the future not so good.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of issues in the world today, that's for sure, and different
that
ways that
true?
that you can spend money. I would say that this money is well spent and it will benefit the ecosystem. And there's a lot of different viewpoints on this project, and without Northern's involvement, this one certainly wouldn't have happened. And yeah.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
And
Thank
I
you.
really appreciate it. And give me your email and I'll push you on the list.
Will do. Thanks.
Okay, thank you.